Queridos hermanos, un cordial
Dear
saludo
brothers,
desde Roma. El Padre General ha
Father
viajado
General has
a
traveled to
India
India
para
to preside
presidir
over the
el
chapter
capítulo
of the
de la
Bangalore
provincia
province.
de Bangalore. No regresará a
He will
Roma
not
hasta
return to
finales
Rome until the end of
de este mes de
December.
diciembre. Me ha pedido
He has
que
asked
hiciera
me
en
to
su
make a
nombre
brief
una
reflection
breve
in his
reflexión
name for
sobre el
the
camino de
Toward the
preparación
26th General
para
Chapter
el
video
decimosexto
series,
capítulo general, siguiendo las
following the
pautas
pattern of the
de los
5
5
previous
anteriores
videos
que él
that he has
mismo
offered
nos ha
us
ido
in recent
ofreciendo
months.
en los últimos meses. A pesar de las restricciones
Despite the restrictions
impuestas
imposed
por
by
la
the COVID-19
de
pandemic,
COVID-19,
many
muchas
communities have
comunidades
already
han
held
levantado ya
the local
las
conversations.
locales. Algunos
Some
organismos han
organisms
terminado
have also
también
completed
las
the zonal
conversaciones
conversations.
zonales.
Others, located in
Ubicados
countries
en
heavily
países
affected by
muy
the pandemic,
afectados por la
are
pandemia,
having difficulty
están teniendo
holding them.
dificultades para llevarlas a cabo. Con un ritmo
At
o
one
otro,
pace or
es
another.
probable que casi
Likely,
todos hayan
almost all of
experimentado
us
ya
have already
el
experienced the
poder
power
de
of
las
conversations,
conversaciones, las
the
novedades
novelties
que
that
suceden
happen when we
cuando
hear other
escuchamos
voices
otras
than the
voces
usual
que
ones,
no son
and
las
allow
habituales,
ourselves to be
y nos
challenged or
dejamos
encouraged by
cuestionar
them.
o animar por ellas. Recordamos que el camino de
We recall
preparación
that the
para el
Emmaus
próximo
journey
capítulo
inspires the
inspira
path
en
of
el
preparation for the
itinerario de
next
Emaús.
chapter. The
La
first
primera
question
pregunta
Jesus
Jesús
asked the two
formula
disciples
a
as
los
they
dos
walk
discípulos que
discouragedly
caminan
back to their
descorazonados
village
de
is,
regreso a su pueblo
"What
natal. ¿Qué
conversations are you
conversación
having on the road?"
lleváis por el camino? También
We
nosotros
also hear the same
escuchamos
question.
esa misma
We
pregunta.
have set out to
Nos hemos
talk
puesto
with
a
3
conversar
approaches in mind.
teniendo en cuenta 3 enfoques. El primero, el enfoque
The synodal
grupal.
approach.
Los
We
claretianos
Claretians do
no
not walk
caminamos
alone.
solos.
We are part of
Formamos
communities and
parte de
organizations.
comunidades y
We are
organismos.
members of the
Somos
congregation
miembros
and the
de la
church.
congregación y de la iglesia. Cuando nos abrimos
When
a
we
los
open
demás,
ourselves
hay
to
muchas
others,
cosas
many
que
things
empiezan
begin
a
to stir
removerse
and
y a
change.
cambiar. Es verdad que la tentación de
Indeed,
la
the
instalación
temptation of
y el
installation and
individualismo
individualism
acecha
always
siempre.
lurks. But we are people
Somos
called to
personas
walk and meet.
llamadas a caminar y encontrarnos. Algo dentro de
Something
nosotros nos
inside
dice
us
que
tells
esta
us
es la
that
dirección
this is the
correcta,
right direction,
por más
even
que
if
no
we don't
siempre
always
la
follow it.
El segundo es un enfoque
Appreciative approach.
apreciativo.
Our problems and illnesses are apparent.
Saltan a la vista. La pandemia
The
no ha
pandemic
hecho
has
sino
only made them more
agudizarlas.
acute.
Por eso
Therefore, we need to
necesitamos poner
emphasize
el
what
acento
generates light
en lo
and
que
life,
genera luz y vida. Porque
because
en todos
in all of
nosotros
us
hay semillas
there are
de
seeds
verdad,
of truth,
bondad,
goodness, and beauty
belleza,
sown by the
sembradas
Spirit of
por
God.
el Espíritu de Dios. Si solo
If we
nos
focus
enfocamos
only on what is
en lo que
wrong,
va mal,
we are likely to create toxic environments that do not help us to
que no
improve.
nos ayudan a mejorar. Si celebramos
If we celebrate what works well, we will multiply the energy and desire to continue growing as individuals and communities.
Y el tercero es
Narrative
enfoque
approach.
narrativo. ¿Por qué
Instead of spending so much time reflecting and criticizing, why don't we spend more time telling what we are experiencing, telling the little stories of what God's Spirit is doing in us, in our communities, in mission?
Hace en nosotros, en nuestras comunidades, en nuestra misión. La vida
Life generates life.
nos sorprenderá.
We will be surprised at the enormous transformative power of stories. After all, Jesus spoke to us about the mystery of the reign of God through short, beautiful, and compelling stories, the parables. Our conversations are exercises that allow us to train ourselves to face the missionary vocation.
Permiten adiestrarnos en esta forma de afrontar la vocación misionera.
We are convinced that the general chapter has already begun, as we have started to converse among ourselves and with others based on some questions that take us beyond the daily routine and make us dream of a renewed congregation.
Y nos hacen soñar en una congregación renovada. Estamos en Adviento.
We are in Advent. If every year this time invites us to wait for the coming of the Lord, this year 2020, so full of anxiety and uncertainty, Advent reminds us of Jesus' invitation to be vigilant and stand on our feet, because the Lord is not far away. He walks with us. He shares our troubles. Advent is also the liturgical season of great dreams. The Word of God reminds us that a branch shall spring forth from the stump of Jesse, that the Lord of the universe shall prepare for all peoples on this mountain a feast of succulent foods, a feast of old wines, that we have a strong city. He has set up walls and ramparts to save it, that the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be opened. Then shall the lame man leap like a deer, and the tongue of the dumb sing. Without dreams, we cannot understand the excesses of God. That is why, in our preparation for the general chapter, we do not limit ourselves to analyzing what is happening to us or even discovering the seeds of life. We want to dream personally and communally, to open a skylight in our lives, to let God surprise us with what is to come. The congregation of the coming years will not only be futurum, the result of our current programming, but above all, Adventus, the coming of God's amazing gift. From the general government, we wish you all a serene Advent, guided by the light of the Word of God. And we encourage you to make the most of the conversations along the way in this second stage of the journey.